Hello and welcome to PODCAS. I am excited to talk to you about the dark side of waking up today. I'm excited because I want to shed some light on things that I haven't really heard too much talking about. Also, by the way, I'm recording this right by my windows. And they're open because I don't have air conditioning. So I'm sorry if there's some trucks that go by that are loud or any screaming kids that are across the street at the pizza joint. All right. So anyways, when it comes to spirituality, I personally didn't have a teacher to walk me through it when I was waking up and taking on a deeper understanding of myself and of the world. And that's what spirituality is to me. It's really just understanding myself and all living beings at a deeper level than just the surface level of how I was living for the 29 years prior. So the intention for this episode today is to shed light on the process of waking up and becoming spiritual. And for some people, this process can take years and it's very gradual. So they might not experience it the same as me, but this is just, my own experience. It's not a cookie cutter way of waking up or becoming more spiritual. Never will be. This is very personal, this journey, but after going through it, I do recommend you have someone by your side through it who has gone through it before, so you don't have to just flap your arms around and I'm just picturing someone in water I don't know what I'm doing, and then the coach comes by and is just lay and you'll float, just calm down, it's okay. It's just nice to have someone like that, which I didn't have during my process of awakening. And as we know, if you've listened to my other episodes, we know that I awakened from such a deep depression. That the depression came into my life so I was able to wake up, because I wouldn't have been able to shake myself awake if I didn't have such a deep, dark time. And so I missed doing a mantra for the last episode, but that's okay. Today's mantra will be: I accept, love, and nurture all parts of me, light and dark. I'll say that again. I accept, love, and nurture all parts of me, dark and light. And you might be like, well, why would we want to accept the dark parts of ourselves? Because when you say something it makes me think of the Kelly Clarkson side. Would you love me if you still even knew my dark side? That's basically that song, Dark Side, which I love. Would you love me even on my dark side? And you do want to find someone who would love you on your dark side, because we all have dark sides. That's the thing about this 3D reality that we live in. It is dualistic. There's a polarity to it. When there's one thing, there's always the opposite and equal. So where there's light, there's dark. When there's love, there's hate or indifference or whatever's the opposite of love, Some people will say it's indifference. I don't know. Anyways, that's a different topic, but when it comes to becoming more spiritual, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have a huge awakening like I did, where I just my whole world turned upside down. Like I said, some people will experience this more gradual, but you can get yourself to the beautiful side of spirituality faster if you do understand certain aspects that maybe you've been shying away from. Okay? So when you open up your perspective, this is the dark side of waking up here. When you open up your perspective, which is waking up to what you haven't seen before, you are literally shining a light on so many things that you've never seen or experienced or thought of before. And it's not always pretty. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's whoa, I never realized that, man. Whoa. The chance of us being here on Earth is 1 in something trillion. Those are cool, empowering things when you start to wake up and start to realize how tiny our little lives are and how big the universe is. It's just so interesting. It's so interesting. So basically, when you are becoming more spiritual, I guess let me talk in a first person. When I have become more spiritual, I didn't really know what I was doing, so I just started to open up my perspective like so wide to just be so curious and understand what the hell has been going on, because I was jolted to ask questions about being a human, about our human tendencies, and a lot of us actually do have a tendency to bypass. If you're spiritual, you can call it spiritual bypassing. If you're just like in the positive mindset area of life, you might call it toxic positivity, which is basically kind of pretending that you're spiritual or pretending that you're really happy and like really full of light and love, but you are so miserable on the inside that you're just trying to cover it up and like pretend that you're okay, kind of thing. And that could happen in the process of waking up, is this like toxic positivity or spiritual bypassing. Sorry about that truck. And this was a part of my process before I woke up. Before I actually woke up to this deep spirituality aspect of myself and this life, I was really positive, and I was pretty much known as someone who was really just very positive. And eventually, because of this whole toxic positivity and spiritual bypassing idea, which I didn't consciously understand at the time, but it bothered me when people called me positive. Because I was like, is that the only thing that you're seeing from me? Is that I just am like, the glass is half full? Like, don't worry, everything's going to be fine because you just need to have gratitude. We're all made of love, so just find that in you to lead with love. You're just kind of using these. Okay, I wrote down the definition of spiritual bypassing, because I was like, I wonder what the definition would be, because I have understood it in a way where I've listened to other spiritual teachers talk about it and things like that. But according to Wikipedia, spiritual bypassing is the tendency to use spiritual ideas and practices to sidestep or avoid facing unresolved emotional issues, psychological wounds, and unfinished developmental tasks. So I was doing this before I woke up. This could be something that people might do when they're immediately trying to be spiritual. To me, that's telling me that they're not necessarily understanding of. I don't know. I have a different journey, because I came from such a dark place that I understood the darkness, because that was me in that dark. It was me kind of like starting to understand the darkness, what's in me, not just the light in me. It's not just like, okay, I know that I should have gratitude because, I have all the best thing, I have a roof over my head and I have fucking all these gemstones and, there's so many people in the world suffering and all of this stuff, and when, you want to pull the perspective out in a way and make it so you're not the center of the world. And that's the issue too with a lot of people that go through spiritual awakenings is, I don't know, as far as I have seen, people that just don't allow themselves to go through their own journey at their own pace, because they're comparing themselves to someone else's journey or looking at someone else like, I want to be there, so I'm just gonna kind of spiritually bypass and just hop over there without actually dealing with any of the crap, any of the darkness that's going on inside of you. So when you wake up, you become aware of humans. This is what has happened with me. When I woke up, I had this craving. It was almost like I became a vampire and I needed blood. I'm watching Vampire Diaries, that's why I use that metaphor, so don't take that too seriously. I'm not a vampire. I'm actually missing a tooth that would be one of the vampire fangs, so that wouldn't make sense. Anyways, but that's like I just was like thirsty for knowledge, like so thirsty for knowledge that I ended up becoming way more aware and knowledgeable about humans in general, like how we work, how we have been conditioned, how we are continuously conditioning ourselves, how other people, other systems, and our society is continuously conditioning ourselves, our patterning, how we actually function in our everyday lives, and the types of thoughts and subconscious thoughts and so many different things that I've learned about the human psyche and how they're affected by not only ourselves, but from our environment and from what we consume, not just food, obviously, but what we hear, what we listen to, what we tune into, what we really take in as truth for ourselves affects us and our personalities, because it creates our personal realities. I think I've talked about that before, how our personalities create our personal reality. So if we don't like something in our personal reality, we need to change something about our personality, which means we might need to change a habit, certain thoughts that we continuously have, maybe subconscious, which we're not even aware of. And that means we do need to go inward always. I mean, that's always the message that I have, is we need to go inward to understand what's going on so we can help ourselves and therefore help other people, because hurt people hurt people and healed people heal people. And I wonder where the originator of that quote came from, because I've heard that a lot, and I don't know who actually originated that statement, but whoever it is, thank you, because it's so true. Hurt people will continuously move on throughout their lives, hurting others, because they don't, that's their energy, that's their vibration and their wavelength, and they're not pulling in experiences that are uplifting or empowering. They're pulling in more reasons and more evidence, because that's what our brains do, is they search for evidence. When you believe something, it searches for evidence. So if you believe that everyone is an asshole or life is working against you, you're going to find evidence for that. All right, that was a little tangent. Okay, so in my waking up, it led me, I went down, I remember, I think it was the month of August last year, potentially. It was on my travels. I was in Los Angeles. I completely went down a rabbit hole of distrusting any company, the TV, no matter what it said, no matter what commercial, no matter what music video. I was like, what? I can't trust anyone. I don't know the agenda behind everyone's whatever, they're preaching at us or selling us, and the industry, the medical industry, the healthcare industry, I completely didn't trust. I didn't trust anything about the food industry, about our government, about literally anything that was a bigger power that we like quote unquote have to listen to or abide by, basically, in order to go to school, get these shots, in order to live a healthy life, eat eggs, which I haven't eaten eggs in like a year. It's a lot of things that just, it became clear to me, like really clear to me, that the higher powers don't have our backs. And that was the dark part for me. Like the darkest part for me was like, hold on, we've been living in a society that isn't actually out to help people become healthier and happier. They're out to make people an entity, to make money. It reminds me of the class that I took in Australia. It was about celebrities, and I was like, of course I want to take a celebrity class. I was obsessed with celebrities, and I still am very intrigued by their lives, but I went through a time where I was so obsessed with celebrities. Just, I wanted to be a celebrity. It's a lot of inner child wounding and things like that, and give me attention, please look at me, all this stuff. But in that class, we learned about how literally celebrities are products, basically, and they're being sold, and they are helping other companies sell, and it's all about money. It's all about monetization. It's all about power and money. And I've come to realize this in my awakening, because I've opened my eyes more to not just ABC News. I used to only watch ABC News because that's what my mom watched, so that's all I watched, so that was it. But now I don't watch the news anymore, because I don't they're all biased, first of all. Whether it doesn't matter which side you're on, it's usually a bias. Usually there's a certain agenda of scaring the public, because these topics that are brought up constantly, and these numbers that are being shown, and these requirements or these suggestions that are being told to us, a lot of the things that are being preached to us from the media isn't for our well-being. And this is what really screwed me up, because I went down a rabbit hole and I started to distrust literally everything. And my boyfriend Joe actually has gone through the same process, but he did this like a couple years before me, around the same time, but just like we weren't together at that time. So we went through our awakenings before we came together, which I think is a good thing, because I don't know if we'd be together if we didn't, because who knows what would have happened, you know? It's the butterfly effect. So with that said, okay, I don't want to give the message to hate the media and to hate the government and to hate the healthcare system and to hate the food industry, because that does not solve anything. And because I was in that state of mind of like hating it and just being so mad, that like pulled me away from my spiritual journey of actually finding, you know, bliss and happiness and peace, which is ultimately the goal of becoming more spiritual, is finding peace within yourself and not needing anything else to make you happy. Really unconditional happiness, right? Unconditional love. That's the point of being spiritual, for me at least, is just feeling at ease and understanding that everything is working out as it should be, and not really fighting against life. Becoming spiritual is just allowing yourself to be in the flow of life and surrendering to it and not resisting it. So yeah, I would say it's important to question a lot of things, mostly everything, honestly. I mean, you have to start questioning things especially when you're in the beginning and you are just realizing that maybe you haven't been living authentically. That's where you need to go in and question yourself, question your beliefs, question your goals. I mean, what do you want to do with your life? Is this a goal that you set when you were 8 years old and you're just hanging on to it because that's the only thing that you've been keeping your eye on, and you haven't been open to other possibilities, and maybe you don't really want to do that anymore? Or maybe it's something that you really have always wanted to do, but you haven't reached for it at all, and you just feel that your soul maybe feels like it's just yearning for something, and it might be that passion project that you've always wanted to do, but you haven't done it because it doesn't feel productive, or it doesn't make you money, or whatever it is. You know, you have to listen to those pings in your heart and harness joy as much as you can while on this journey, because it can be a little rough. When you open up that perspective, you start to understand and start to see the bigger agendas, and you start to question everything. So yes, question yourself, question everything that you believe about yourself first, because we cannot help change the world until we're able to change ourselves, you know? So understand what you believe, understand that there might be parts of you that need to be spoken to and dealt with that have been kind of just pushed away because it's a little dirty or yucky, or you don't want to admit that you were wrong. And when we're able to take radical responsibility in our lives is when we can seriously break ourselves free from feeling anxious and stressed and misaligned. So yeah, question yourself, and then once you feel really solid with yourself, because you can't be doing, your energy can't be just all over the place trying to figure everything out at once. Focus on yourself at first. Like you have to focus on yourself at first. You have to first take a perspective, kind of like when you are looking at a friend and you're like, oh my God, I love this person to death, but why can't she just blank? I love this person to death, but I don't know why she can't see that she needs to just blank. This person, oh my God, if she can only see herself more clearly, she needs to blank. So we can look at other people all day and easily diagnose them, easily tell them this is going to be helpful for your life if you choose to create this habit or ixnay that habit or change this in your life or break up with that person. So easy for us to tell other people that, right? So what you want to do first is do that with yourself, because you can tell other people so easily what they should do or think about what they should do so easily. Why is that? It's because you're not emotionally attached to whatever they're emotionally attached to. You're on the outside of that, so you're not in it. When you're in it, you can't make clear decisions and you can't see things clearly. You are driven, and humans are driven by emotion. We make decision based on emotion. That's why it's so important to keep our emotional states as calm and collected as possible. And we do that by working on our nervous systems daily, by doing breathwork exercises or kundalini or working out, or there's different things for everyone that you can do. But it's important to keep your emotions nice and stable. Obviously, it's okay to feel things. Please do. But the more we can be in control of how we feel, the more we are in control of our lives, because we're able to make decisions not based on our emotions, because we're outside of that. If we take that bird's eye view, if we go up into that tree and we look down at ourselves and we see things clearly, we will see things clearly as long as that emotion isn't swimming around inside of us. When the emotions are swimming around inside of us, take a breather and get yourself to a neutral state by breathing, laying down, doing some meditating, dancing it out, whatever you need to do, and then make your decision and then talk to that person. Anything that is done in a highly emotional state is not necessarily going to be the result that it's not going to provide the result that you necessarily are looking for. Who knows, maybe luck or whatever, things will work out. But typically, if you're making your decision from a certain energetic state, you're going to bring that energetic state to you. It's like the law of attraction, kind of, a little bit. It's a little bit deeper or different than that. So with my journey, what I did wrong, let me tell you I don't want to say wrong, but this is where I wish someone was like, okay, watch out. I didn't necessarily just dip my toe into new ideas. I kind of dove headfirst into them, and I was swimming around underwater, I don't know what I even think or believe anymore. I can't, you're just in this abyss of not understanding any, you've taken away the whole point of becoming spiritual. When you're in that zone of not trying to understand, but just basically when you lose the sense of yourself and your beliefs and everything like that, when you kind of have let that all go in order to dive into these ideas, it's hard to get back to yourself. You can and you will. I mean, I did that. I dove into all these conspiracy theories, which I'll get into that in a second. And because of doing that, because I was waking up and I'm like, oh my God, is this true? Is this true? Is this true? Is this true? And I was diving in deep, and I was losing myself. I was losing my head. My head was not above water. It was underneath, and it was clogged because I was just going crazy with all of these different things that are new possibilities of the world. And I did pull myself out of that, and I realized there's so many levels of waking up and spirituality and conspiracies and theories and different perspectives and ways of living that you really need to have your bearings on what you think and what you believe and what your values are really. And be solid in that before you dive headfirst into anything. And don't dive headfirst into these crazy ideas that are out there. Dip your toe in, see what it's all about, and then leave if it's weird, or don't let it consume you. And that's pretty much the case for a lot of new ideas, whether it's conspiracy or not. Dip your toe in, and then take it out. And if you enjoy that philosophy or that perspective, then go ahead, have a little swim in that pond, but don't get lost in these deep, dark lakes that have so much muck at the bottom that it just confuses you as to which way's up, which way's down, and who you are. Because that's what I did when I woke up, is I lost myself because of all of the possibilities of what could fucking exist, especially the bullshit, especially the terrible things. And there are a lot of horrible things that are happening in the world, which, I mean, that's the case, period. That it is what it is. And I'm not saying that in a way where it's like, whatever, it's not my problem. I'm saying that there's dark and there's light in this world, and that is a fact. And we need to accept all of it. We can't just look at the light and be like, okay, this is the only thing we can focus on, because if we look at the dark, oh my God, we're going to be sucked in and I don't know what to do. Yes, you can get sucked in like I did. Like I dove head first. But you don't have to do that. Dip your toe into these new ideas. I am like so open-minded that it did consume me at one point. I preach to be open-minded, but now I'm giving you a warning about opening the mind and then like not understanding when to close it, or discernment, really. And that's something that I did learn through all of this, is discernment. Is, okay, I'm not going to take on all of the fucking potential ideas as my own, because that's not using discernment. That's just being like the people that I don't necessarily agree with, which is the people that sit in front of the news all day and take that all as their truth. I don't agree with that way of life, but I respect it, because you can do whatever the hell you want. You have free will. But that was me doing the same thing. I was kind of like diving into one perspective, and I didn't allow myself to see any other way at that time when I was swimming in those certain lakes of muck. If that makes sense at all, I hope it does. But when coming back to conspiracy theories, I want to make sure this is, oh shoot, okay. I'm going to save this. On my podcast here, it cut me off. So I just need to save. This happened last time, except it was the video. It's because I got a call to my phone. First, okay. So let me continue talking here. 1 second. Bear with me for a second. Gotta love it, this technology. I need to be a little bit better at the whole podcasting technology, but I'm doing what I can, so I hope that's okay. Okay, we are back. I got cut off from my podcast recording, but we're back. So I just wanted to talk about conspiracy theories for a minute, because I just feel like I want to roll my eyes so hard. When I heard about conspiracy theories back in the day, I was like kind of scared, and I was like, I don't get it. I don't think it resonates. I'm not going to go there. I just never went there because of the term conspiracy theory. It sounds dangerous. It sounds scary. It sounds bad. So I never went down that road of looking into conspiracy theories or even really understanding what they were. But now that your girl has woken up, she understands that conspiracy theories aren't necessarily bad. The term conspiracy theory was actually created by the CIA, the government, in order to make the people that don't agree or challenge the philosophies of the government, they want to make those people seem crazy that don't agree, that are trying to maybe share a different perspective about whatever it is. I mean, what a lot of presidential leaders do, what a lot of not even non-presidential leaders are up to behind closed doors, and what all the child trafficking, I mean the sex trafficking and the sex rings, they do exist, and there are children. This is just one of those things where this conspiracy theory of the like sex rings, I guess it's a conspiracy theory, I don't know, but I've listened to different people talk about rescuing children and this whole underground fucking crazy, like scary, I mean it is scary, this in particular is scary, kids getting kidnapped and being trafficked, and the human trafficking for body parts, for certain organs. I mean, the things that are going on in this world, the genocides, I mean, just everything. And there's so many things that aren't being told to us because of the agenda of the leaders who want to keep their power and they want to keep their money, so they don't want to empower the people by helping them understand that maybe their intention isn't for our well-being. And that's my belief. You don't have to believe that, obviously. If you're listening to this, maybe it resonates a little bit, I don't know. But I just never realized the extent of how shitty our leaders are. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're red or white or red or blue or whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just our system, the way it's set up. That's another thing, that waking up to the system, the systemized racism, the systemized sexism. It's insane, and it's so frustrating. So these are the things that when you kind of start to scratch the surface of, like, oh my God, sexism is literally woven into our society from day one. When you start to realize that, you kind of get a little mad, And it's like, what the hell? What the actual hell? How has this actually been going on? And I'm sitting back and not even realizing it, And at those points, we don't want to beat ourselves up. We want to understand that we all will discover new ideas at our own time, and we don't need to take on these ideas as something that is going to, affect our lives to such a degree where we're, suffering and, oh my God, all the, there's so much shit going on in the world that it's hard, because I'm the type of person who's really empathetic, and I want to solve everything and cure everyone and help everyone. And when I see all of this stuff that's going on that I can't really do anything about, at least not physically, I do it, in my prayers, and I send people love, and energetically I try to help as much as I can. But when it comes to certain things like underground sex, childhood sex trafficking, that can just blow your mind to the point where it can make you feel depressed for a while if you really keep focusing on that. But the fact of the matter is, these are things that do need to be brought to light to be dealt with. Otherwise, people are going to just do the whole spiritual or positive, the whole toxic positivity. That's not really happening. That's conspiracy. It's not that bad. Everyone's rescued or whatever. We need to be aware of what's actually going on in order to help the situation. But at the same time, we don't want, especially, I'm just talking about me as this random girl who lives in upstate New York, who lives with her boyfriend and is a 31-year-old, and I can't do my job and live a happy life and do all the things I need to do, be in my relationships, while just taking my life and just basically only focusing on all that's fucking wrong in the world. Because we can do that, and that's where I fell into those dark, mucky lakes. That's basically what I'll call it, is just dark, mucky lake time for me, was just losing myself in all of the horrible things that are going on in the world. And I'm not even going to talk about specific conspiracy theories, because that doesn't even matter. You can believe whatever you want to believe. There's a lot of things that are labeled conspiracy theories that are not, that are true, and they're still called a conspiracy theory because, again, of the government trying to protect themselves from people shining a light on things that they don't want to be out in the public. Now, I'm also curious about the whole alien thing coming out, because UFOs and the whole extraterrestrial life thing is becoming a little bit more normalized. I don't know how much on the news or mainstream media, because I don't watch the mainstream media for a reason. And I'm just interested to see the aliens come through. I don't know what's going to happen. For me, my belief is that, am I going to really talk about aliens right now? I'll just say that I do believe I have a galactic family out there, and we all do. And there's other beings out there, and it would be very egocentric to think that we are the only living, human-ish type of things that are out there, like besides animals, you know? There's other life out there, period. I mean, the universe is so vast that there's absolutely no way for us to even know if there's 18 other Earths with 18 other of like me, Cassie DeSaro, or you, or whoever. Like, we don't know what's out there. And that right there is such a cool perspective to have. And it's empowering also, because when you feel like you don't know everything, it empowers you to know more, to want to know more. It empowers you to want to learn more. And that's how I feel, is the more that I've learned, the more that I don't know and that I want to know. You know, like when you learn more, it makes you realize how much you don't know. So it's just a journey, and I'm on it, and I am loving it, and I hope you are loving your journey. I mean, I'm saying I'm loving it from this state of mind, in this emotional state right now, but you know, who knows? Every day is different, and that is exactly why the journey is so awesome, is because we never know what to expect. We don't know. Maybe aliens will come and live amongst us. I think they probably already are. I feel like an alien most of the time. I've always joked about that like I am an alien. Have I always joked about that? I don't know. I just always have felt like I don't belong, like I belong on another planet. And I definitely have some alien DNA in me, that's for sure. You probably do too. So yeah, that's actually something that I do in my prayers, is I talk to the Galactic Federation, or I at least say thank you to them for looking out for us, because I do believe that there are entities that are potentially working with the government, and it's going to come out, and I hope it's going to be in our lifetime. So anyways, let's end on that alien note, okay? And I hope you enjoyed this. If you agreed, great. If you didn't agree, that's also great. I'm just here sharing my perspective, my journey with you, in order to shed light on the things that I had no idea existed, or I didn't know was the process of waking up. I didn't realize that becoming such a light being involved so much darkness and so much working through all of the muck, and having discernment and understanding where to really put your energy, and don't allow those horrible things to take away your energy, the things that you're waking up to. Because I do know a lot of people get very bitter about just living in a society where there's like rule, where there's like government, and it's not just that it's a government, but it's one that kind of, you know, again, sexism and racism and all the fucking bullshit. We just have to harness change through our embodiment of being our best selves and truly wanting the best for ourselves and everyone else. Everything else will fall into place if we are all on that same wavelength, which is a higher consciousness, which is coming to planet Earth a little bit more, day by day. I do believe people's consciousnesses... All right, calm down there out there, man. His consciousness is not up there yet. I can't stand when people are at the light honking. I'm like, listen, it's not going to make it go faster. Okay. So, yeah. I'm going to leave it at that because I can ramble forever. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please screenshot this episode if you found it helpful, exciting, enlightening, funny, stupid. Not really, I mean, you don't need to spread hate, but you know what I mean? I'm not going to tell you to share it if you didn't love it, but I know you wouldn't do that anyway. So, all right, well, I'm going to eat because I'm starving right now. I'm going to have some homemade pizza and enjoy your day. We'll catch up next time. Screenshot this, post it if you want. Send me a message if you liked it. I'll catch you soon. Thank you so much for listening. I love you.